Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy, and welcome back to more Discardables. Today on Discardables, the Pokemon trading figure game. A short-lived game that sort of flew under the radar. This isn't Discardables, this is... Disfigurables? Anyway, before we get started, let's talk about our playmat of the day. This lovely artwork of this elf spear wielder, I don't know what you'd call that, with her giant fox friend, I guess she got shrunken down or something because these raccoons are way bigger than her, is from Gamer Mats. The illustration's by an artist known as Sandara. I believe we featured her artwork on this before, or sorry, their artwork on this before, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to give exposure to this. It's not sponsored at all. Hope you enjoy. This video started as just me opening some booster packs from the trading figure game that I found at Too Many Games, but it ballooned into a lot more, so we're gonna start with the history of the game. It was released in 2007 and it lasted one set. Yeah. In quite possibly the most farcical decision, the base set is called Next Quest. I guess they wanted to sell it as a continuation of the TCG, but I can't really figure this one out. To me, it sounds like what you'd call the second set in a game, and in fact, that's what I thought it was for a long time, and I only found out that the first set was called Next Quest when I couldn't find any products from a base set. And I promise you I'm not the only person who thought this by a long shot. Basically, every existing YouTube video on the TFG makes this exact joke. So I got a lot to show you today. I got booster packs, unopened booster packs that we're gonna be opening, and I've got loose figures as well, including some rare unreleased figures from planned future sets. But before we get into that, I just want to point out these freaking renders on these official products. I feel like this is one of the last times that something super off-model made it onto an official product. Conversely, for the cost, I think the figures look great. Just look at the rock work on Trico here. These guys are gorgeous. Even the common figures look good. It's not just the legendaries that got star treatment. Torchic with this fire just corroding around it. I don't know if that's even a word, but I'm making it one. There's so much variety in the posing. This is way higher quality than you'd find in most board games or even other trading figure games for that matter. This Latios just soaring up into the sky. Gyarados here with translucent water around his base. This is getting very messy very fast. I might not be able to keep all of the props on here through the whole video. The original Next Quest set had a total of 42 different figures in it, so there's really something for everyone here. Now, being clear, I might have a lot of figures. I'm not going to be playing the actual game in this video. In basic terms, it functions like a board game. You move around, you attack, and your goal is to invade your opponent's base before they do that to you. And unlike the TCG where your Pokemon's the only one doing any battling, you actually can select from several trainers to play as who have their own abilities. Every figure has its own set of abilities, and you decide what that turn is by spinning. In this case, I got a white move. Blue beats everything. Usually that's dodging or negating damage. In the case of Turtwig here, he just simply withdraws into his shell. Purple is the tier below blue, usually having some kind of effect, in this case moving your opponent's Pokemon. White is usually just damage, nothing too complicated there. Occasionally they can have effects, but they're the lowest tier of move. And then some Pokemon have misses on them entirely, where red is just, you've wasted your turn, that's all there is to it. Other Pokemon, such as Croconaw here, have yellow rings around them that have passive abilities. Bite Instinct, if Croconaw moves this turn, it must attack if possible. So as you can see, this isn't really a game that you can play with just the figures. You're gonna need a game board so that you can effectively move around and know how everything interacts with one another. I happen to have game boards right here, but believe it or not, for a sheet of paper, these things are hard to come by. I was able to find a lot of them, but I ended up paying $98 for a set of a few of them. And believe it or not, that was actually a very good price compared to what I've seen these things go for. Don't worry, we're here for you. I actually found the original PDFs for both the 3-on-3 and 6-on-6 formats on the Internet Archive. You find them linked below, you can print them off from any printer, and they even have assembly instructions. Now, if you're hearing me talk about the rules, and you see this playing field, and it all seems very familiar to you, that's probably because you were into Pokemon Duel. Believe it or not, Duel was a revival attempt at the trading figure game. Several figures are identical across both games, just having some numbers and ratios on their discs adjusted. And similar to the original, Pokemon Duel was also unsuccessful and shut down before its career story mode was even given an official conclusion. This game just can't catch a break. It's a shame because it is legitimately fun and cool, and I mean, you could make the argument that Duel is an objective improvement because it makes the spinning truly random. With enough practice, or by just having a figure that isn't in good shape, the spinning is rather predictable. This is as fast as I can get Goldeen here to spin. Wouldn't be an episode of Discardables without a binder in it. This game is also played with, yup, cards. They get their artwork mostly from the 3rd generation TCG sets that came out around the same time, and they're printed horizontally to differentiate themselves from their TCG counterparts. Much like the playmats, these cards are exceedingly rare and I hardly ever see them listed or sold in any physical card shops. TCG Player doesn't even have pages made for them. Oh boy, now for the part we've all been waiting for. Let's crack open these booster packs and see what I got. You ready? I don't know if I am. So they have nice perforated lines on the back that can be used to tear the packaging anyway. Way to go, me. We have extracted the Salamence. He can breathe again. He hasn't felt air in, oh my God, it's been 18 years since this came out, and by extension, that's 18 years since the release date of Diamond and Pearl. Oh, I'm ancient. And then we get our mystery figure. Just a moment. What do we got? What is our first mystery figure? Okay, there's the card. It is Doduo. That's a big figure, huh? All right, I'll take that. Our card is X attack. It still says plus power on the canister right there. That's kind of funny. Man, could you imagine in the TCG if plus power made your attacks do 30 more damage and you could play them as often as you'd like? It'd be mayhem, I tell you. Next, we're gonna go with a starter kit. We get a promo figure in here. All right, Lugia. For a second there, I thought that was our mystery figure, and I was like, wait, I already have some of these. No. All right, well, that's a Lugia. It's not the Crystal Lugia. All right, come on, Crystal Lugia. Give me 2 Lugias in one package. Come on. All right, Eevee. I already have multiple Eevees. I guess I have another one for trading now. And we'll get to that in a bit. Hi, Chester. Are you... You stuck your foot out and kicked the packaging. Our next quest is Zangoose. So I'll welcome that and our mystery is Charizard. All right, okay, yeah, that's like that. Scoop Up is our card, by the way. I don't know if I showed it before though, but our card was X accuracy for the last one. So I'll take a duplicate Charizard. We complete the starter trio with Chimchar. And our mystery figure is... The game award goes to... Sentret. That's a common. Oh, I opened the mystery one first. I didn't see what it was, though. Hey, boy. Here, get out of here. We don't display duplicates. Our mystery figure for this one is... Beedrill! Oh, and these things! All right, yeah, these are the status symbols. We saw those earlier. And I got Switch as my card. Okay, Beedrill's a rare. That's kind of nice. Nothing to see there. It was just another Lugia. And Kyogre! Oh, I thought its arm was missing for a second. I didn't get that it was submerged. All right, I'll take it. I like Kyogre better than Groudon. That's nice. That's a rare, and I got another Switch. Drum roll. What do we got? We have, ooh, Teddy Ursa. Teddy Ursa. Like you. And Swamp Spots. And this, my friends, is our last booster pack. Can we go out on a high note? Please? I already saw the base. It's Meryl. It's Meryl. He looks kind of pissed off. You don't really see him depicted that way too much. Oh, and our card is Long Throw. That's another new one. Put one of your bench Pokemon on the field one space from one of your entry points. Your turn ends. 6. Oh, there's another booster pack! I put this to the side at the beginning of filming and I didn't notice it! My significant other is watching and she's covering her heart and her mouth and just being like, you slay me right now. That's what she says. We got Ho-Oh. What's our card? Full heal! It's another new, we have 7 out of 8! Oh my God! All right, what's our figure? What's our figure? What's our figure? Who else would it be? Murkrow? Oh, of course. What else would we end on besides Murkrow? You shut up. Now let's talk about the release of this game. Because to my surprise, they seem to have high hopes for this thing. Like, really invested a lot into it. For instance, the game was personally designed by Ishihara from the Pokémon Company and had some of the talent from Game Freak involved, much like the TCG. They even gave it space in the Pokémon organized play circuits for 2 years before discontinuing it. Kind of. A lot of people say that around that time they didn't really see much of it there and the support was pretty lacking, but they at least officially had it listed in the Pokémon organized play section for a while. And that leads me to the sad part. We don't know exactly why the game failed. But the most common speculation, and what I would assume is the case, putting it simply, plastic sculpted figure costs a lot more money than ink on paper. The high cost of producing these figures, especially with how nice they looked, along with Pokemon splitting profits through 3 joint owners, probably made it pretty unlucrative. Cards are just gonna have a drastically better profit margin. I have my own theory that goes a little deeper than that. I think that staying into a game like this for an extended period of time just isn't as consumer friendly as the TCG. To explain what I'm talking about, let me put you in the time a little bit. The 2 figure packs would show you one figure and then leave the other one a mystery. The guaranteed figures would always be Charizard, Feraligatr, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Kyogre, I'm gonna need to scoot these over a little bit, and Groudon. Additionally, the starter packs would give you a trainer, either Red or Brendan, and other packs would guarantee you Eevee, Salamence, Zangoose, Meowth, and Murkrow. Then there were 3 promo figures that were given out in other packs, which were Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. There's the whole Sinnoh Pokemon being all shiny and new and special and all that. All of these figures are effectively untradeable. According to ICV2, who reported on the launch at the time, the 3 figure starter kits retailed for $15, about $24 today, while booster packs of 2 figures were $8, about $13 today. This is why I think it failed. Imagine already having all of these figures, which to be fair, you could probably build a decent team out of, but if you wanted any more of them and couldn't find anyone to trade with, your only option was spending $13 on effectively 1 figure, complete with a useless bonus duplicate figure that you have nothing to do with, and no one who's serious about the game is going to want to trade for it because they can just go to the store and buy it. There's gonna be no serious collectors or players that are gonna want to trade for any of these, or a common figure. It's just a recipe for disappointment when Pokemon card packs, sure, they might not have what you want in them, but they're right there and they're much cheaper. So your only option is stick them in boxes or throw your effectively $13 figure into the garbage, which, I don't know about you, I would never feel good doing that. It's just such an expensive hobby and it takes up too much room. Finding any storage solution for all of this stuff is just gonna be a nightmare no matter which way you slice it. Heck, finding a way to display these things on just a shelf is difficult because they're all different heights and sizes, and unless you're Warhammer 40K, you're probably not gonna keep an audience for very long because it adds up really quickly, both financially and in terms of space. Now, I don't mean to make it sound like I hate the trading figure game or anything. No, I love these figures. They are wonderful. They're some of my favorite Pokemon collectibles. And I think that the weird and odd should be remembered. That's why I made this video. It's just that with such a short history, the failure is sadly a necessary part of talking about this thing to really put you in the time and what it was like to collect them when they were new. So with that, let's talk about collecting. Figures had different rarity tiers. If you were an American fan, you would never know any of this because the American figures alone are the only ones devoid of any rarity symbols, but if they did exist, they have the same rarity symbols as the TCG. Circle for common, diamond for uncommon, star for rare. Additionally, there was a white star signifying any of the guaranteed 6 figures. And that kind of brings me to just how ludicrous this is that we don't have any set symbols. When Feraligatr is the most common rarity, and Doduo is a rare, who the heck knows? But what if we went even further? God, that hurt me to do. I heard them all clacking against each other. I will never do that again, I promise. Let me tell you about the legendary crystal figures. Ooh, and it's a Charizard, meaning it cost me way too much money, but yeah. So these are clear plastic versions of Charizard, Absol, Feraligatr, Groudon, Kyogre, Lugia. This one's my personal favorite. I wish I had this thing. And Ho-Oh. Despite how affordable the figures are on the secondhand market, these command pretty big prices. And of course, because it's Nintendo, there are special figures that were released everywhere but North America. These are the Pearl figures. They're a white matte finish, unlike the clear plastic that we get on those. We have these 5 Pokemon, Brock, Misty, and Murkrow. As a side topic, Murkrow has gotta be like the favorite Pokemon of somebody on the dev team because it's easily the most ubiquitous figure. I've only seen 4 Pearl figures on sale for the several months that I've been watching, and every single one of them is a Murkrow. Every collector of this that I've been able to find has a Murkrow in their collection. They're everywhere. And for some reason, any Pearl Murkrow I ever find is missing its base, and I don't know why that's the case. But don't worry. Nintendo didn't forget about you completely. To make up for us not getting these Pearl figures, North America was the only region to get Crystal Eevee, Crystal Meowth, Crystal Salamence, and Crystal Murkrow. I don't get it either. Now let's get into those unreleased prototypes that I mentioned. There was only 1 set officially released, but there was a second set announced called Groundbreakers. And in fact, we know the full set list because, well, I got one right here. Take a look at that. This frickin' Mewtwo right here. He's like Dragon Ball Z. Ugh, I love it. You're able to find Groundbreakers figures in the wild because it had somewhat of a limited release. These starter kits were released in, as far as I know, at least Walmart in North America and nowhere else in the world. Even worse, because Groundbreaker's set was only released in North America, that means that we have no known rarity symbols for any of these. It's like even when North America gets preferential treatment, you still can't win. But that's not the crown jewel of all this. Believe it or not, let's go back to old Croconaw here. He's got his own set symbol that differs from all the others. There was another third unnamed set shown off at toy fairs, and this would have introduced new mechanics into the game. I'm actually really giddy that I get to talk about this because I didn't think that I had any figures with this mechanic, and then I realized, oh my god, one of them does. Pikachu here was a promo figure that was meant to be released alongside the third set, and he has a golden attack. It's got a foil backing and everything. Every single instance of a golden attack that I could find on any figure that we have photos of was always a priority move. There's a Rayquaza that has extreme speed, there's a Sneasel that also has quick attack. Additionally, there were going to be new statuses. My Suicune figure here is from set number 3, And it has Ice Beam, which mentions that the defending Pokemon is now frozen. There's no other figure that does this. If you're wondering about the cards, Groundbreakers did have a set of 8 cards that released alongside it. I don't have any of them on me, but we've never seen any cards from set number 3, meaning that maybe it wasn't going to have any cards, or maybe it was. We don't know. What we do know is, wrong figure. Wrong figure again. We know its set symbol, yes. So, based on the set symbol, I dubbed the Sans' Eye. Yeah, I think we can all get behind that. As a feather in my cap, I have more figures from the unreleased 3rd set than any other set. And this is where it gets into the really cool stuff that I wanted to show off. Even more so than these crystal figures. There's some great stuff in here. You might have noticed there haven't really been a whole lot of 4th gen figures even though it was 2007. That's because it was all shiny and new. A lot of 4th gen Pokemon were given the rare treatment or promo treatment so that they would be desirable and have scarcity to them. And the later sets are no different. Meant to promote the 3rd set is Darkrai here. That flying to the side pose like he's dodging out of the way of a Shadow Ball or something, even though he resists it. It's one of my favorites. I love this figure. Another interesting one made to promote the 3rd set is Manaphy. Now, Manaphy here is pretty interesting. There was a Manaphy figure in Pokemon Duel, and it's heavily based on this one's moveset. So even the unreleased figures were taken into account when they were developing Duel. Some other figures from the 3rd set that I'm particularly fond of is this I call him Smolax because his arms are behind his back and he just looks so tiny. It's not often you see Snorlax depicted all cutely like this. There's this Machamp lifting a boulder over its head with all 4 arms at once. Despite that being his whole thing, you don't really see him using all 4 arms at the same time a lot. This Entei is majestic, just roaring atop it. I'm only missing Raikou to complete the set of 3, but this trio was gonna make their debut in the 3rd set. We got a Tyranitar coming out of the ground. I suppose when the figures have to spin around, you are a little bit limited in the posing, but they make do with what they got. It's like some kind of snake burrowing up. This is yellow, apparently. It's hard to say if that's the canon name for red recolored in the yellow color, given that it never came out. So take that with a grain of salt. And on the note of trainers, I really, and I mean really hate to disappoint you fellas, but that Erica that I showed briefly earlier in the video is an unreleased 3rd set figure. It pains me because she's so well detailed, just her kimono translated so well into a little figure like this. There isn't a lot of merchandise of Erica either. It's a shame. Additionally, we have Raichu Give It a Thunderbolt. Lieutenant Surge got a figure. Notably, yellow here is a clone of red from set number 1. There's what his disc looks like. But the gym leaders from set number 3 have this blue ring around that as well. We don't know what that would have been, but presumably different trainers would have had different abilities as time went on, giving you some advantage there as well in strategy and who you chose to play as. The series doesn't really have anything like this otherwise, so I think this is an interesting take on the whole trainer thing. And then probably my happiest find. I've got an Emerald Brendan. Also from the unreleased 3rd set. This thing is so cool. You never see him in his emerald clothes in any merchandise, at least not very often. And it seems like 3rd versions have just gotten forgotten by time as they've continued to remake these games and ignoring them. I'm so happy that I have official merchandise of this. My last happy find from set number 3 that I'd like to share is this Flareon breathing fire. I might have said a lot of mean things about Flareon competitively over the years, but man, if that figure is not great. From Groundbreakers, I also have this Blastoise that I didn't show off in that section. I just wanted to fit it in before the end there because it is, you know, cool figure. Kind of a funny thing about the promo figures is if we go back to Turtwig here, he's promo number 1. But then there's this other promo figure of a judge. It's also promo number 1. I think this is the only time this has ever happened in an official Pokemon game where 2 things accidentally have the same number. Now our last section today is going to be about caring for figures. A lot of my figures also have faulty spinners, where it doesn't matter how well I do it, it just doesn't, sorry Suicune, it just doesn't spin like it's supposed to. Like, this is not going to work for a game. Yeah, it's night and day difference how spinning this is compared to my broken ones. I disassembled them and found that in every single case this is happening, it's because there's a plastic rod in the middle that is snapped off. This sounds like a lame solution, and I'm sorry that it kind of is, but the bases are interchangeable. You only need so many of them to play at once. As long as each player has 6 functioning bases at all, you can just swap them out and they'll spin again just fine. The plastic display cases that I've been using throughout this video will be linked below with an Amazon referral link that I get some residuals from, so you may use that or you may search the product without doing that. So in closing, I feel like so few people ever traded these figures due to the resounding failure. So I'd like to open up the lines for this. If you'd like to trade for any duplicate figures and you can provide me with photos showing that you do indeed have what you say you have, I'd really like to be one of the only people who's ever traded these figures with anybody. I have a PO box on my channel page that you can find. Here's all of my duplicate figures. And these are what I would consider my cool figures that are duplicates. I got the Sinnoh starters, Eradicate, we have unreleased prototypes of Latios, Pinsir, Manaphy. We even got a little Trico down there, that's kinda nice. If you'd like to give any of these figures a home, hit me up. Let's see what we can work out. Now if you'll excuse me, I got a lot of cleaning up to do. See you guys next time.